Your mind isn't broken, it's just been fed lies. Lies about control, success, and what it means to be strong. It's time to rewrite the script. Ever feel like your mind is a battlefield? Stress, distractions, and self-doubt are the enemies, and they're winning. But what if I told you there's a 2,500-year-old system to rewire your brain and make you mentally unshakable in 2025? Buddha once said, "The mind is everything. What you think, you become." And right now, your thoughts might be holding you hostage. Here's the truth. You're not broken. You're just untrained. In a world that glorifies hustle and chaos, we've forgotten how to think, how to be, how to rise. But what if you could cut through the noise, silence the inner critic, and unlock a level of focus and calm that feels almost superhuman? This isn't just another self-help video. This is a mental revolution. We're diving into 10 ancient Buddhist teachings, not the fluffy ones, but the raw, transformative principles that warriors, monks, and even modern CEOs use to thrive under pressure. And at the end, I'll reveal a forbidden meditation that will change how you see everything. So tell me this. What's one thing your mind is struggling with right now? Fear, overthinking, burnout. Whatever it is, this video is your escape plan. If you're going to get anything out of this, just get this. Your mind is your greatest weapon if you know how to wield it. Let's begin. 1. The illusion of control. A man once spent his days chasing the wind, fighting, grasping, trying to shape it to his will. His kite trembled in the storm, but instead of adjusting his grip, he pulled harder. The string snapped. The kite was lost. This is how most people live, clinging desperately to control, believing that if they just try harder, plan more, or worry enough, they can shape life's outcomes. But Buddhism teaches a different way. The Buddha understood that suffering comes not from what happens to us, but from our resistance to it. The harder you fight the wind, the more exhausted you become. The moment you release control, you find freedom. You are the sky. Everything else is just weather. Think about it. How much energy do you waste trying to control things beyond your reach? The opinions of others, the economy, a relationship that is slipping away. The more you grip, the more stress tightens its hold. Neuroscience confirms this. When we fixate on rigid outcomes, our brain releases cortisol, the stress hormone. But when we embrace uncertainty with openness, our creative and problem-solving abilities expand. Flexibility is the key to mental strength. Take Steve Jobs. He dropped out of college, an event that seemed like failure. But by letting go of the traditional path, he stumbled into a calligraphy class, an experience that later inspired Apple's elegant fonts. If he had clung to control, would Apple have ever existed in its iconic form? The truth is, the more you release, the more life aligns for you. But letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means shifting your focus from control to adaptability. Imagine a river. It doesn't fight the rocks in its path. It moves around them, flowing effortlessly. The same principle applies to your mind. The strongest minds are not those that resist, but those that adjust, pivot, and embrace change. So, how do you practice this? First, pause and recognize your resistance. When you feel tension, ask yourself, what am I trying to force? Identify the situation where you're gripping too hard. Awareness is the first step. Second, shift your perspective. Instead of asking, how can I control this? Ask, how can I work with this? A challenging situation might be an opportunity in disguise. The more you shift from force to flow, the more solutions emerge. Third, practice the burn and release exercise. Write down a frustration, a fear, or an expectation that's weighing you down. A career move that isn't unfolding, a relationship struggle, an unresolved past event. Then burn the paper. Watch it turn to ash, symbolizing your release. Letting go is a habit. Train yourself to detach from what you cannot change. Finally, breathe into uncertainty. Try this. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. As you exhale, imagine releasing control. Say to yourself, I trust the flow of life. This simple shift in mindset can reduce anxiety and bring clarity. Mental strength is not about mastering every detail of life. It's about mastering your response to life. The winds of uncertainty will always blow. The question is, will you fight them or will you learn to dance with them? 2. The fire of attachment. A man sat before a roaring bonfire, mesmerized by its warmth. At first it was comforting, a source of light and security. But as he fed it more wood, the flames grew wild, unpredictable. Soon, the fire demanded more than he could give. It burned out of control, consuming everything in its path. This is the nature of attachment. What begins as warmth, love, ambition, security, can become a wildfire when we cling too tightly. The Buddha taught, the root of suffering is attachment. We attach to people, to dreams, to identities, believing they define us. But the tighter we grip, the more we suffer when they change or slip away. Imagine an entrepreneur who builds a company from nothing. At first, it's about passion, creating something meaningful. But over time, an obsession grows. They measure success by numbers, valuations, external validation. The dream that once fueled them now consumes them. They chase unicorn status at the cost of their health, relationships, and peace of mind. Burnout hits, and they are left with nothing but exhaustion. But the moment they release the obsession, the need for a specific outcome, they reconnect with their original purpose. The company thrives again, not because of force, but because of clarity. Non-attachment doesn't mean giving up. It means giving your best without being consumed by the result. It means loving without possessing, striving without obsession, and flowing without fear. It's fierce focus without desperation. So how do you practice non-attachment in daily life? First, observe your emotional triggers. What makes you anxious or fearful? Is it losing status? Fear of failure? Rejection? These are signs of attachment. Write them down and recognize how they control you. Second, practice letting go in small ways. Delete an old email that no longer serves you. Give away something you don't need. Detach from a minor expectation, like how someone should respond to your message. Every act of release strengthens your ability to embrace change. Third, replace attachment with presence. Instead of fixating on a specific future outcome, focus on the action in front of you. When you eat, taste each bite. When you work, do it with full intention. The present moment is where life unfolds. Finally, redefine success. If success is measured only by results, you'll always feel unstable. But if success is about growth, learning, and showing up fully, you can never lose. The fire of attachment only burns those who feed it recklessly. Tend to it wisely, and it will warm you, not consume you. What dream are you over-gripping? Share one in the comments below. 3. The mirror of self-awareness. A traveler once found a diamond buried in the mud. At first glance, it looked worthless, dull, covered in dirt, indistinguishable from an ordinary stone. But with patience, he wiped away the grime, revealing its brilliance. This is you. Beneath every insecurity, every label, every past mistake, there is something untouchable, your true self. But most people never see it. because they are too distracted by the mud. They define themselves by their job title, their achievements, their failures, their relationships. They believe, I am my success, or I am my flaws. But Buddhism teaches that these are just masks. The real question is, who am I beneath the roles I play? The mind is everything. What you think, you become. Buddha. Your thoughts shape your reality. If you believe you are unworthy, you will live small. If you believe you are limited, you will never push beyond your comfort zone. But what if your identity isn't fixed? What if the roles you play, employee, parent, friend, achiever, are just temporary layers, not the essence of who you are? Successful people understand this. Many top CEOs practice daily mind audits, a method of stepping back from their identity to make better decisions. They ask, am I leading from wisdom or from ego? This prevents emotional reactions, decision fatigue, and self-sabotage. When you stop identifying with your temporary emotions, you gain clarity. But self-awareness isn't just about removing the ego. It's about seeing your true strengths. What if the traits you judge in yourself are actually hidden advantages? A restless mind might mean high creativity. Overthinking could be deep analysis. Even challenges like ADHD often fuel hyperfocus and innovation. The very thing you see as a flaw may be your greatest gift. So, how do you polish the mirror of self-awareness? First, pause and breathe. Take a deep breath right now. Ask yourself, what mask am I wearing? Are you pretending to be perfect? Are you playing small to please others? Acknowledging your mask is the first step in removing it. Second, question your thoughts. The next time you think, I'm not good enough, or I always fail, pause. Ask, is this true? Often, these are just conditioned beliefs, not reality. Third, reflect daily. Spend 5 minutes journaling, not about what you did today, but about who you were. Were you present? Were you acting from fear or authenticity? This rewires your mind to focus on being, not just doing. Finally, redefine yourself beyond labels. You are not your job. You are not your past. You are not what others expect of you. You are something deeper. And when you see that, no failure, no rejection, no external change can shake you. The mind, like a diamond, only shines when polished. The question is, will you wipe away the mud? Pause and ask yourself, what mask are you wearing right now? 4. The sword of discernment. A samurai does not swing his sword wildly. He does not fight every battle. He waits, watches, and when the moment is right, he strikes with precision. His blade is not just a weapon, it is clarity, purpose, and discipline. Your mind is that sword. In a world drowning in distractions, false urgencies, and endless noise, most people are fighting battles that don't matter. They chase every notification, say yes to obligations out of guilt, and fill their days with meaningless tasks. But the Buddha taught the power of right effort, the discipline to cultivate what nourishes you and discard what drains you. True mental strength is not about doing more. It is about doing what matters. Better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace. Think about how much energy you waste on things that don't align with your purpose. Overthinking the past, worrying about others' opinions, scrolling endlessly through content that leaves you empty. Imagine a samurai dulling his blade on useless battles. How would he win the war? The same applies to your life. Your focus is your greatest weapon. Sharpen it. Some of the most successful people understand this deeply. They practice what I call the digital samurai mindset. Every night, they clear distractions. They delete 3 apps that drain their energy. They curate their inputs, eliminating content, commitments, and conversations that do not serve them. They don't just manage their time, they protect it like a warrior defends his land. But wielding the sword of discernment is not easy. It means making hard choices. It means saying no to obligations that steal your peace, to people who drain your energy, and to habits that sabotage your growth. And here's the truth. Every time you say no to something meaningless, you say yes to your destiny. So, how do you sharpen your sword? First, identify your distractions. Right now, think of 3 things that consume your time but give you nothing in return. Social media, mindless gossip, overcommitting to things that don't serve you. Write them down. Awareness is the first step to cutting them away. Second, use the rule of 3. Every night, delete or block out 3 distractions, apps, emails, or obligations that pull you off track. Do this for 1 week, and you'll be shocked at how much clarity you gain. Third, set your non-negotiables. What truly matters to you? Family time, deep work, health? Block time for these first, and let everything else adjust around them. A sword without purpose is just a piece of metal. Define your purpose, and your decisions become effortless. Finally, practice saying no. Stop explaining. Stop apologizing. A simple, "I can't commit to that right now," is enough. You do not owe your energy to anyone who does not respect it. The sharpest sword is the one that cuts through the unnecessary, leaving only what is essential. The question is, will you wield yours? Comment the emoji dagger if you're ready to take control. 5. The paradox of impermanence. A group of Buddhist monks spends days creating an intricate sand mandala. Every grain is placed with precision, forming breathtaking patterns of symmetry and beauty. But just as the final stroke is completed, they do something shocking. They wipe it away. In a single motion, the entire creation is gone. Most people live in fear of that moment. The moment things change, the moment something is lost. We cling to relationships, careers, identities, believing they will last forever. But Buddhism teaches the opposite. Impermanence is the only constant. Everything you love, everything you fear, everything you are today, it will all change. And that's not a tragedy. That's freedom. This too shall pass. When life is hard, this phrase is a comfort. The heartbreak, the failure, the uncertainty, it will pass. But here's the real challenge. It also applies to the good times. Success, love, youth, even the people we cherish, nothing is permanent. But instead of fearing this truth, the strongest minds embrace it. They understand that clinging to anything, pain or pleasure, creates suffering. They learn to build boldly, but release gracefully. Psychologists have found that accepting impermanence reduces anxiety by 37%. Why? Because when you stop resisting change, you stop fearing the future. Imagine 2 people experiencing loss. One resists, staying stuck in denial, holding on to what's already gone. The other grieves fully, then lets go, making space for new beginnings. The happiest people don't avoid loss, they honor it, then rebuild. Think about your own life. What are you clinging to? A past version of yourself, an old dream, a relationship that no longer serves you? What if, instead of holding tighter, you let go? Take 3 deep breaths right now. With each exhale, imagine releasing one thing that no longer belongs to you. Now, how do you live with impermanence instead of fearing it? First, practice presence. The more you live in the moment, the less you fear losing it. When you eat, taste fully. When you love, love deeply. When you work, give it your all. Presence transforms temporary moments into timeless experiences. Second, detach from outcomes. Have goals, work hard, but don't tie your worth to results. Success and failure, are both temporary. What matters is how you show up. Third, embrace endings. A job loss, a breakup, a change in identity, these are not failures, but invitations to evolve. Every ending clears the path for something new. Instead of resisting, ask, what is this transition teaching me? Finally, create, knowing you will let go. Like the monks and their sand mandala, pour your heart into your work, your art, your relationships, but when the time comes, release them without regret. Impermanence is not a loss, it is a reminder to live fully. The question is, what mandala are you clinging to? Let it go in 3 breaths and step into your next chapter. 6. The alchemy of suffering. A phoenix does not fear the fire. It burns, it crumbles, and from its own ashes, it rises again, stronger, wiser, transformed. This is the alchemy of suffering. You were not meant to avoid the fire. You were meant to be reborn through it. Most people spend their lives running from pain, resisting hardship, and cursing their struggles. But Buddha's first noble truth is clear. Suffering exists. No one escapes it. Not the rich, not the enlightened, not the powerful. But here's the difference. Some let suffering destroy them, while others let it refine them. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. Pain is a natural part of life. Loss, failure, betrayal, these experiences are unavoidable. But suffering, that is the mind's resistance to pain. It's the refusal to accept, the endless replaying of the past, the self-pity that keeps us trapped. The strongest minds don't deny pain, they transform it. Science calls this post-traumatic growth, the phenomenon where people don't just heal from adversity, but emerge with newfound strength. In fact, 70% of trauma survivors report profound personal growth after hardship. Their pain didn't break them, it built them. Like the phoenix, they used the fire to forge something new. Right now, you might be going through your own fire. A heartbreak that shattered your world. A failure that made you question your worth. A loss so deep it feels like part of you is missing. And maybe, in this moment, you can't see a way forward. But what if I told you this pain is shaping you into the person you were meant to become? How do you turn suffering into strength? First, accept the fire. Stop running from your pain. Acknowledge it. Feel it fully. You cannot heal what you refuse to face. Second, ask, what is this teaching me? Every challenge carries wisdom. Maybe your heartbreak is teaching you self-worth. Maybe your failure is redirecting you toward your true purpose. Shift from, why is this happening to me, to, what can I learn from this? Third, use your pain to help others. The struggles you survive become someone else's survival guide. The wisdom you gain from suffering can light the path for someone still lost in the dark. Instead of asking, why me? Ask, who can I help because of this? Finally, rise from the ashes. Your past does not define you. Your pain does not own you. But only you can decide if it will break you or build you. The fire is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of your transformation. So, what ash can you rise from? Tap if you've survived a storm, and remember, your story is not over yet. 7. The silence of the ego. A traveler walks through a vast canyon. He shouts his name expecting clarity, but what comes back? A distorted echo, louder but meaningless. The more he yells, the more chaos returns. This is the nature of ego. It shouts for validation, for attention, for significance, but the louder it demands, the further we drift from truth. Buddhism teaches that silence, not noise, is the key to wisdom. The ego is fragile. It craves approval, it fears being wrong, and it resists growth because change threatens its identity. But wisdom thrives in stillness. When you silence the ego, you begin to hear something deeper: intuition, truth, and clarity. Silence is the language of God. In a world addicted to self-promotion, silence is a superpower. We seek constant validation, likes, comments, applause, but the strongest minds step back. They practice intentional silence. They don't rush to prove themselves. They listen. They observe. They act only when necessary. Look at some of the greatest thinkers, leaders, innovators, visionaries. Many follow what is called the 5-hour rule, dedicating time each week to reflection and silence. Elon Musk, Bill Gates, even Einstein, some of their greatest breakthroughs happened not when they pushed harder, but when they stepped back. Your biggest insights won't come from forcing ideas. They will come in stillness. But here's the problem. Ego hates silence. It will tell you to speak when you should listen. It will push you to react when you should reflect. It will convince you that being right is more important than growing. When was the last time your ego lied to you? Maybe it told you to argue instead of understand. Maybe it made you hold on to a title, a relationship, or a belief just to feel in control. We've all been there. But what if, instead of shouting into the canyon, you simply stopped? How do you silence the ego and unlock real wisdom? First, pause before you react. When you feel the need to defend, correct, or impress, stop. Take a breath. Ask, am I speaking from wisdom or from ego? Most battles aren't worth fighting. Choose peace over proving a point. Second, practice daily silence. Set aside time each day. No phone, no music, no distractions. Just sit with yourself. Let your mind settle. In that space, you will hear the truth beneath the noise. Third, detach from validation. Your worth is not in applause. Your growth is not in proving others wrong. True strength comes from knowing who you are, without needing anyone to agree. Finally, embrace the power of quiet confidence. The strongest minds don't need to shout. They don't need to dominate. They lead through presence, through depth, through stillness. Your biggest breakthroughs won't happen when you force them. They will come when you step back, listen, and trust the silence. 8. The dance of equanimity. A tightrope walker steps onto the line high above the ground. With every step, she adjusts, not clinging to stillness, not resisting movement, but flowing with it. This is equanimity, the quiet mastery of staying centered, no matter how life shifts beneath your feet. In 2025, your greatest strength won't be control. It will be balance. Life is unpredictable. One moment, success lifts you high. The next, failure shakes your foundation. Buddha taught that suffering comes from attachment, to pleasure, to pain, to certainty. But when you embrace equanimity, you no longer fear change. You move with it. Calmness is the cradle of power. In the world of high-stakes finance, hedge fund traders live or die by their emotions. The most successful? They don't panic when markets crash. They don't celebrate recklessly when they rise. They stay centered. They know that reacting emotionally leads to mistakes. This is the same in life. The more you chase highs or fear lows, the more unstable you become. But when you develop equanimity, you gain an unshakable presence, a mind that is still no matter the storm. Think about your own life. What's the tightrope you're walking right now? A stressful job, a complicated relationship, a personal goal that feels impossible? Drop one word in the comments that describes it. Now ask yourself, are you fighting for control or are you flowing with balance? How do you cultivate equanimity? First, practice emotional detachment. This doesn't mean becoming cold or indifferent. It means observing your emotions without being ruled by them. When anger, fear, or excitement arise, pause. Watch them. Let them pass like clouds in the sky. Second, embrace neutrality. Not everything needs your reaction. Not every battle needs to be fought. Some things deserve your energy. Others deserve your indifference. Strength comes from knowing the difference. Third, find stillness daily. Just 5 minutes of mindfulness can rewire your brain. Neuroscience shows that meditation strengthens the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for clarity and decision-making. The calmer you are, the stronger you think. Finally, understand the paradox of the middle path. Many people mistake balance for mediocrity. They think being calm means being passive. But the truth is, mastery is balance. Power is control over your own mind. The middle path isn't about being neutral. It's about being unshaken. Life will always test your balance. The question is, will you wobble or will you flow? 9. The warrior's rest. A warrior does not fight endlessly. Even the sharpest blade dulls without rest. Imagine a bow kept permanently taut. Its string will snap, its power lost. The same is true for you. If you push without pause, if you glorify exhaustion, you will break. True strength isn't in constant struggle, it's in knowing when to rest. In today's world, we are told that stopping is failure. Hustle culture glorifies overwork as if burnout is proof of dedication. But Buddha taught that rest is sacred. Monks call sleep the little death because it allows renewal, a rebirth of energy and clarity. Even the Buddha himself rested daily. Yet today, we wear exhaustion like a badge of honor. Why? You yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. Science confirms what Buddhist wisdom has long taught. NASA conducted a study and found that a simple 26-minute nap improves performance by 34%. High-performing athletes embrace rest as part of their training. The most successful CEOs schedule reflection time to recharge, yet most people ignore rest, believing that pushing harder is the answer. But overworking isn't dedication. It's often a trauma response. It stems from fear. Fear of falling behind, fear of being seen as lazy, fear of not being enough. But what if true power lies in knowing when to step back? Ask yourself, when was the last time you rested without guilt? Your mind is your greatest weapon, but just like a warrior's blade, it needs sharpening. Clarity doesn't come from exhaustion. Creativity doesn't bloom in burnout. Your best ideas, your strongest moments, your deepest insights, they arise when you are well rested, recharged, and still. How do you embrace the warrior's rest? First, schedule stillness as seriously as work. Monks meditate daily. Samurai warriors practice zazen to sharpen their focus. Set a time for intentional rest, whether it's a quiet walk, deep breathing, or a power nap. Drop her in the comments and commit to it. Second, detach from the illusion of urgency. Not every email, every message, every demand is truly urgent. Recognize the difference between movement and progress. Learn to pause. Your well-being is more important than instant replies. Third, understand that resting is an act of power. It is not indulgence. It is not laziness. It is fuel. The strongest warriors know that battles are won not by endless attack, but by strategic retreat. Athletes cycle between intensity and recovery. Ancient sages alternated deep contemplation with action. Your body and mind thrive on balance. Finally, trust that life moves forward even when you stop. The ocean waves crash and recede. The moon waxes and wanes. Strength is not in endless exertion. It is in rhythm, in flow, in knowing when to step back. You cannot pour from an empty cup, so refill it. The battle will wait. 10. The gift of radical responsibility. A storm is raging. The wind howls, the rain lashes down, and the once perfect garden is now a mess of broken branches and scattered leaves. You can't control the storm. You can't force the rain to stop, the wind to quiet, or the sky to clear. But what you can do, you can pick up a shovel. You can plant new seeds. You can rebuild. Life is no different. Storms will come, setbacks, betrayals, unexpected failures. And in those moments, you have two choices: blame the weather or become the gardener. Most people choose blame. They curse their circumstances, resent other people, and wait for the sun to return. But here's the truth: no one is coming to fix your life for you. No one saves us but ourselves. Buddha's words cut through illusion. Blaming others might feel justified, but it keeps you powerless. It convinces you that life is happening to you, not through you. But true strength begins the moment you say, "This is my life, and I take full responsibility for it." Radical responsibility doesn't mean ignoring injustice or pretending struggles don't exist. It means shifting your focus from "who is to blame" to "what can I do?" It means understanding that you are not responsible for everything that happens to you, but you are responsible for how you respond. This is the difference between feeling trapped and becoming free. Think about the last time you blamed someone for your struggles: a boss, a partner, the economy, society itself. Now ask yourself, how does that story serve you? Does it make you stronger, or does it make you stuck? The most successful, unshakable people don't dwell on blame. They take ownership. Jocko Willink, a former Navy SEAL, calls this extreme ownership. In his leadership training, there's no room for excuses. If a mission fails, it's never someone else's fault. It's yours. Not because blame is useful, but because power lies in responsibility. If it's your fault, it means you can fix it. And if you can fix it, nothing can hold you back. So here's your challenge. What's one problem you've been blaming someone else for? Your career, your relationships, your mindset? Reframe it right now. Instead of thinking, "They ruined this for me," ask, "What can I do next?" Most people fear responsibility because they think it's a burden. But here's the surprise. Taking full ownership doesn't weigh you down. It sets you free. It means you are no longer waiting for someone else to change, for an apology, for circumstances to be perfect. It means you reclaim your power right here, right now. Every storm ends. The wind will die down, the rain will stop, and the sky will clear. But what your garden becomes after the storm, that's up to you. Will you stand in the wreckage, waiting for someone else to fix it? Or will you pick up a shovel and start planting? The strongest people don't wait for better circumstances. They create them. Drop A in the comments if you're ready to take full responsibility for your life. Because your future isn't written by fate. It's written by you. Bonus teaching: the forbidden meditation. Imagine a lightning strike in the middle of the night, sudden, blinding, and impossible to ignore. For one brief moment, everything is illuminated. You see the world exactly as it is, stripped of illusions. Now imagine if that strike wasn't just outside, but inside you. A flash of realization so powerful, it changes everything. This is the power of the forbidden meditation. Most people spend their lives avoiding one truth: you will die. We pretend we have time. We act like tomorrow is guaranteed. We get lost in trivial problems, pointless arguments, endless distractions. But Buddha taught a meditation so powerful, that most fear even speaking of it, death meditation. A practice where every day you visualize your own death, not to scare yourself, but to wake up. Every morning, we are born again. What we do today matters most. That's the secret. When you accept death, you stop postponing life. Suddenly, the things you stress over, what people think of you, minor inconveniences, temporary failures, become irrelevant. Because when time is short, only what truly matters remains. Billionaire entrepreneurs, elite athletes, and Zen monks all use this practice. Why? Because it cuts through distraction like a sword. Steve Jobs did it daily. He'd ask himself, if today were my last day, would I do what I'm about to do? If the answer was no, too many days in a row, he changed his life. What about you? If this was your last day, would you be proud of how you spent it? Or would you regret holding back, waiting, hesitating? Think about it. The words you didn't say, the dreams you didn't chase, the love you didn't express, the risks you were too afraid to take. We live like we have forever. But forever is a lie. There is only now, only this moment. And most people sleepwalk through it, waiting for some future that may never come. Not you, not anymore. Here's your challenge. Close your eyes. Imagine you've taken your last breath. It's over. Your time is up. What do you wish you had done differently? What's the one thing that makes your chest tighten, your heart race, your soul scream, "Not yet, I haven't done this"? Write it down. Now go do it. This meditation isn't about fear, it's about freedom. The moment you accept death, you are no longer afraid of life. You become unstoppable. No more excuses. No more waiting for permission. You realize that everything you've been afraid of, rejection, failure, embarrassment, is nothing compared to the regret of a life unlived. If you died tonight, what would you regret not doing? Do it. Because one day you will take your last breath. But today is not that day. Today you wake up. Today you choose to live. Drop A in the comments if you're ready to break free. Quick summary of the 10 teachings. The illusion of control. Surrender the need to control external outcomes. Focus on your response, not the chaos around you. Freedom comes from letting go. The fire of attachment. Attachment to people, outcomes, or identities creates suffering. Practice non-attachment to find peace in impermanence. The mirror of self-awareness. Regular self-inquiry dissolves ego-driven narratives. Ask, who am I beneath the roles I play? The sword of discernment. Mental strength requires ruthless prioritization. Cut through distractions and focus on what truly matters. The paradox of impermanence. Nothing lasts, not failure nor success. Embrace change to reduce anxiety and flow with life's rhythm. The alchemy of suffering. Suffering is inevitable, but it's not your enemy. Transform pain into wisdom and growth. The silence of the ego. Ego craves validation. Wisdom thrives in silence. Practice stillness to hear your inner truth. The dance of equanimity. Stay centered amid life's highs and lows. Balance isn't standing still, it's constant, calm adjustment. The warrior's rest. Rest is sacred. Overwork is a trauma response, not a badge of honor. Renewal fuels resilience, the gift of radical responsibility. Blaming others keeps you powerless. Take 100% ownership of your mind and life. Life is not a problem to be solved, but a mystery to be lived. These 10 teachings aren't just principles, they're mental weapons for navigating the chaos of 2025. Each one invites you to shed the weight of control, attachment, and ego, and step into a lighter, freer version of yourself. As Buddha said, you are the sky. Everything else is just weather. The storms will come, but they don't define you. Think about this. What if your struggles aren't obstacles, but teachers? What if every moment of pain, every distraction, every fear is here to show you something deeper about yourself? The alchemy of suffering lies in this question. What is this moment trying to reveal to me? Zen philosophy teaches us that the present moment is all we truly have. The past is a memory, the future a fantasy. Right here, right now, you have the power to choose. Will you cling to what's fleeting, or will you embrace the freedom of impermanence? As the ancient proverb goes, this too shall pass. But what you do with this moment, that's what lasts. Remember, mental strength isn't about being unbreakable. It's about bending without breaking, flowing without losing yourself. It's about finding stillness in the storm and clarity in the chaos. You are not here to conquer the world. You are here to understand it. And in that understanding, you'll find peace. Before you go, take a deep breath. Let these teachings settle into your mind like seeds in fertile soil. If this video resonated with you, like and share it with someone who needs these insights. Drop a comment below. What's one teaching you'll apply today? And don't forget to subscribe to Deep Wisdom for more inspiring Buddhist insights on living a peaceful, purposeful life. Until next time, stay curious, stay present, and remember, your mind is your greatest weapon. Wield it wisely.